Welcome to Hurry Up Pinball, a show where I teach you how to work on your pinball machine. Today I will show you how to install PinWoofer's Powerwave amp. So grab your tools and let's get going. Here you can see the front of the Powerwave amp, and here is a picture of the back side of the amp showing the backside headers that will be connected to the back box board. This piece of U-shaped channeling that was included with the kit will be added to the board to reinforce the mounting of the amp. To begin this installation, move the pinball machine so you have access to both sides of the pinball cabinet, and then open the coin door, grab the back box keys, unlock and lower the speaker panel, then remove the trans light. Be sure to place the trans light in a safe location. Before continuing with this installation, be sure to unplug the pinball machine at this time. Next, we will be unplugging the connectors seen here. Unplug the power cable at CN7. When removing the connector, make sure to pull on the connector housing and not the wires. Next, unplug the speaker cables at CN1 and CN4. Before we install the Powerwave amp, we need to add the support channeling to the back of the Powerwave amp. The open side of the channel should face the large open area of the Powerwave amp. Remove the backing from one side of the double-sided tape and attach it to the back of the amp as seen here. Here is how it should look when properly mounted. At this time, peel up a small corner of the visible tape. This will make it easier to remove when installing the amp. The headers on the back of the amp will be plugging into CN7, CN1, CN4, CN3, and CN5. Titles up to and including Iron Maiden LE have a 6-pin CN5 connector. Iron Maiden Pro and Premium have a 7-pin CN5 connector. Please take note of this, as the backside headers on the Powerwave amp may or may not cover a top 7th pin on the CN5 header. If you have a 6-pin header at CN5, simply let the CN3 and CN5 backside headers in the topmost location hover over the space that would otherwise have a 7th pin. At this time, remove the backing from the double-sided tape and then line up the backside headers for CN3 and CN5 to ensure that the holes are aligned with the CN3 and CN5 pins on the back box board. Next, pre-align the header to connector docking point at CN1 and CN4 backside headers. It is helpful to stage the header pins into the female header socket holes. Gently press the CN1 and CN4 female header onto the CN1 and CN4 pins. As you do this, expect the CN3 and CN5 backside header to naturally engage with their associated pins. As you press CN1 and CN4 into place, it is advisable to apply some pressure to the CN3 and CN5 headers also so it starts to dock. As you press down on the CN3 and CN5 headers, make sure that CN7 is aligned as well and press down on this connection point. All of the connection points should be properly docked at this time. Now it is time to plug the factory CN7 connector into the Powerwave amp at this location. Plug in the factory CN7 connector to the Powerwave amp as seen here. Here is how it should look when properly connected. Now we need to plug in the factory CN1 and CN4 connectors to the Powerwave amp at this location. Plug in the factory connectors at CN1 and CN4 as seen here. Here is how it should look when properly connected. With the amp installed, go ahead and plug in the pinball machine at this time and turn it on. During the boot up process, you should see the LEDs on the Powerwave amp cycle as seen here. For more information on these lights, be sure to check the instructions from PinWoofer. Here is how the amp should look when properly installed and with the machine powered on. Now it is time to adjust the settings on the amp. First, set all the controls on the Powerwave amp to the locations shown here. Be sure to set the cabinet level fully clockwise to the maximum position. With the knobs in this position, set your coin door volume to 35. At this time, raise and lock the speaker panel so the speakers are facing you. Start a game so the music or sound effects start to play, and use the knobs on the amp to start dialing in your desired sound. You can adjust the frequency and level of the cabinet speakers and the level and treble on the back box, as well as the master volume. It is critical that you also set the back box speaker impedance to 8 ohms in the factory menu. To get to this setting, select Utilities, then Volume, and then cycle to back box speaker type. As you make adjustments, it is recommended that you change only the back box and master sections on the amplifier slightly so that you can attain a good amplitude balance between the back box and cabinet speakers. If additional adjustments are needed on the cabinet section of the amplifier, now is the time to make those changes. There is also the option to connect an external sub or a line-out cable with adjustments for each. Get your machine sounding good with only the Powerwave amp before adding an optional external subwoofer. Once you are done adjusting the settings on the amp, lower the speaker panel, reinstall the translight, raise and lock the speaker panel, place the back box keys on the coin door hook, and move the pinball machine back into its original location. Be sure to play a few test games to double check your work. This is Craig with Hurry Up Pinball, and I wanted to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, show your support for Hurry Up Pinball and click the subscribe button. We can also be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Hurry Up Pinball.